Welcome to the My Creative Days podcast, where we will talk about all things DIY, home decor, decorating tips, and creating a beautiful home on a budget. I am hoping our time together will spark a creative idea, help you plan your next DIY, or inspire you to finally tackle that project you keep putting off. Grab your favorite cup of motivation and let's chat. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm going to talk about something that is kind of fun. I'm talking about home decor and home trends that will never go out of style. Like, these will last, they will stand the test of time. These are things that we all should be doing in our homes when we're thinking about redecorating, decorating, or you're buying a new home and what you want to do in there and how you want to make the space perfectly you. For me, I think I'm getting to the point where I really want to choose and do the things that I know are going to, they're just going to last, and I'm not going to want to change in a month, in a year, in 2 years. I think I've always been like that. There's been so many trends in clothing, in homes, in all kinds of things. And I don't know if we live in a smaller home, so it's not as easy to do some of those, trendy, crazy ideas where I feel like I kind of have to tone it down because it could look really crazy in smaller spaces. But I do like to do these things when I am thinking about maybe redecorating a space. These are also things we have flipped houses in the past, and we have never had to stage any of them. They have sold before we've actually, a couple of them sold before we even got them done. But most of the time they sold so quickly that we didn't have time to stage them. So, but these are things like when we get a flip house and we're reconfiguring, cabinets or something like that. I'm always thinking of like what's going to give them the most function, what's going to, not trendy, in a month, or you know what I mean? Like, I'm just really trying to make decisions smart. And so I thought I would share this podcast with you and just kind of think about these things that they're timeless trends. They're trends that are going to last and not go out of style. So let me see. I just included 7 here. So but anyway, just some things to think about. So obviously a classic color palette. Now, classic doesn't mean you have to have white walls and that's it. So, a living room that's decorated in neutral tones, such as beige, ivory, or a soft gray. I feel like gray is going out. I mean, that was so hot, and that was like every spec home in all the new, like the cookie cutter neighborhoods, the new homes that were being built, everything was gray. The siding, the paint, the carpet, even the flooring, the wood flooring would lean a little bit gray. And so I feel like that's kind of getting pushed out, and more of the beige and ivories is kind of coming back in. And I love that. I love not necessarily ivory, but I prefer a warmer white, or, just kind of like, even like a grayish color. And I know that sounds weird, but like a gray beige color that could lean both ways, because then it gives me options. I am somebody that gets bored and wants to change things often. And like I've said before here, and if you follow me on Instagram, we have been looking for a new house for a while now, have not found anything. And so I said in 2024, we are just going to focus on making this house. We're going to do the little projects that I'm like, well, if we're going to sell, I don't really want to do that. Or, just the little things that we kind of put off, or just thought, oh, this would make it just a little extra or just a little better, but we didn't really need to do. We're doing that in 2024. That's what we're doing. We're living here right now. So I'm going to make those little changes that I wanted to make. And so it's also because, again, I get bored. And so the things that I'm changing now, they are very, timeless, now that I'm using that word, but they aren't going to go out of style. They are things that will go through the years, and the next people that live here or whatever, that will still be able to enjoy no matter what their style is. And so, painting the walls kind of a neutral tone, and then, adding colors and different things makes a big difference. And so instead of painting painting your walls kind of a crazier color, or you know what I mean, something that's just not neutral probably is not going to be, the thing in a few months or a year. And it's just that those neutral tones, they're like the timeless backdrop that allows you to do the other things, like, your accent pillows, your rugs, your artwork, those kinds of things to change over time as the trends do, your tastes change. But you still have that neutral background where everything's going to look good, no matter what trend you're following or what stage or season you're in, or how your style or your aesthetic changes. The next thing is quality investment pieces. So if you know me, you know any of my content. I am telling you, stop buying the furniture in, like, I feel like Home Goods, I don't know if I should state this right now, but, when that first came to our city, I felt like things were just built better and but now when I'm going in there, a lot of the things, they're just built with, like they have A, B, 1, 2, 3 sides that you put together with, like from a box. And if you can find real wood, old pieces of furniture, they don't have to look bad. You can find amazing pieces in, I'm not telling you here, you have to flip all your furniture. You can definitely shop for those pieces that are in mint condition. They are just a better investment. We got a dresser. Gabrielle wanted a new dresser and she didn't want to wait. And the one she wanted was kind of just longer and bigger. And I knew I wasn't going to find one like what I'm normally picking up. Basically, I wasn't going to find one that was exactly all the other furniture we have in our home except for her room. And so the other day we were doing something in there and I'm like, don't do that on there because this isn't like wood finish. Like this will come off, or you know what I mean? It's just not made the same. And so if you can invest in those, your furniture pieces, a solid wood dining room table, just the durable construction, those are going to go a long way. Now, things like also sofas and sectionals and, like a living room chair, those you may not find vintage or old, but, you do want to invest and, you're going to spend more money on those pieces because you want those big pieces that are going to be a bigger investment to last you a long period of time. And again, I would stay neutral in those choices because you can just change the look of it with your throw pillows and your throw blankets. But you don't want to have to get all new furniture when in a year you're like, I just don't love the bright pink, sofa that I thought was so cool last year. You know what I'm saying? So definitely keep those neutral as well. Timeless patterns and textures. Now, I think some people worry about, patterns and textures like, oh my gosh, next month these aren't going to be cool. But there are, like a striped duvet cover paired with, a solid colored sheets. Throw pillows that may have a different design. And you can mix and match patterns and textures. And please do. It just makes everything more interesting. Stripes always add a visual interest. Polka dots, maybe not so much. You know what I'm saying? Like that can come in and go. But like your stripes, your plaids, those kinds of things that are never gonna go out of style. If you think of like just classic patterns and textures, I'm trying to think of another example. And, what just comes to me is like the Ralph Lauren vibe with just like the classic Americana, stripes, plaids, those kinds of things that are just they're always gonna look good. They are never gonna go out of style. And I'm also trying to think of a pattern or a texture. Email me if you can help me out with this. That is, I say polka dots, but it's not like a lot of people are doing polka dots, but one thing for me, I guess I could say that was kind of a fad and I never was, those big chunky knit blankets that were a fad for a long time. I mean, I still think they're popular, but they would pull away, like the yarn would pull away as soon as you used it a few times, like that would just pull away, like those kinds of things. It's like, oh, that was fun for a minute, but now I'm just not into it anymore. I know that's not really a pattern or a texture, but that was just something that just came to mind up, that it's not going to be timeless. It's not going to stand up over years. And that's kind of a good way to look at this when you're thinking about timeless design and timeless decorating. Is this piece, is this blanket, is this throw pillow feel it, like move it around. Is this thing going to last, just structurally? Is this going to last, over and over and over again? That's why, I think when I say plaids, I will pick up a vintage plaid blanket all day, every day. It makes me think of, when I said Ralph Lauren, like Country Living magazine. Those textures and those patterns that you see there over and over and over again throughout every season. The plaid blankets in the spring for picnics, and the plaid vintage blankets, at Christmas for warmth and coziness. Like, those are the kinds of things that are never going to go out of style. So just think of it that way, and that may help you. But whereas some of those other, fad things are just not going to stand the test of time, right? Functional and flexible design. So this is another one that I absolutely love. And again, I think living in a smaller space makes me appreciate this so much more. So if you live in a small apartment or a small home, you will totally, this will resonate with you as well. But finding pieces and furniture and things that have dual purpose, like, please, when I can find a bench that you can lift up the top and there's storage inside, when I can find, whatever it is, your entertainment center that has extra storage, or your coffee table that has storage, or, whatever it is, it's like it's got multiple functions or can be used in different ways, because that's another thing. I'm constantly changing things around. And so I need things. You'll find a dresser in our living room and a coffee table in our fitness room. Like, and it's not really a fitness room. It's like a fitness area with the sauna and all of that in it. But it's just, I need things to work in multiple spaces. And so, like, think your modular sofas. But some of those, you got to make sure you get like a timeless classic design. But with the interchangeable ottomans that you can, configure to different seating arrangements and different, room layouts when you do get bored with how it's looking, those kinds of pieces, that's what you definitely want to be looking for. The next one I also love, and the next one, minimalist and clean aesthetics. So this kind of feeds into my OCD, and again, because we live in a smaller home. So I have never been one to hang on to things. Now, I'm not a horrible person. I have totes for both our kids and things that they've made and done throughout the years. I didn't throw all of that out, but I am not somebody, I know people personally that have, homes and garages full of things for that. Maybe someday when we have grandkids, they'll want to play this game. We are not as a family playing this game at all, but I have 400 games that maybe when we have grandkids that will play those games. Or you have the spouse that doesn't want to let go of things that remind them of their childhood, or they had back in the day, or they used in high school, or just those kinds of things. Like those, I don't know. I'm constantly doing this. But I did this in high school. I did this when I got my own bedroom. I was constantly organizing and purging and getting rid of things. And so that minimalist and just I love to clean too, which is just, I know it's weird, but just having things sleek and, just everything put in its place. And I don't like a lot of things out on the, countertops in the kitchen. Because we don't have a lot of counter space in our kitchen, right? So that makes me, I keep that minimal, like what's on our counter. I need all that space when I'm, cleaning and all of that. So just get rid of the clutter and just having that minimal, and I'm not saying you cannot be like a maximalist, like decorating, and just make sure it doesn't look like an antique store or just a hoarder situation. You want to enjoy each and everything you have in your home, and the things you aren't using and you don't love, get rid of, give it to somebody else that can use it. I'm telling you, I have tons of podcasts about this, so I'm not going to get into it. But what it will do for your soul and your mind and just your overall stress level, it far outweighs, the timeless design that I'm talking about today. So natural and sustainable materials. So this will always be like, if you have a green thumb, I don't. So, but I love to have green in our home. It is my favorite color, but I do love to have, I'll pick up faux, like plants and things like that, the fake ones, just because I like the way it looks. But having, plants in your home, we do all the planting outside. Matt loves that. And we do like a garden in the summer, and Definitely outside plants we're all about. The indoor thing, I just can't get it together But there are so many eco-friendly materials, nowadays too, for your projects in home, like bamboo flooring, recycled glass countertops, like, your low VOC paint. Like there's so many sustainable choices that, that's always a good thing. That's timeless. But it's not just sustainable. I'm talking about natural elements too. So anytime I can add like a wood, something, greenery, those kinds of things. Think about adding that stuff. That stuff is never going out of style. You're never going to get bored with that. Personalized and meaningful decor. Now, I added this and I went back and forth, because I think so many people struggle with this, but yet it's such a fun part of decorating, and it can be such a fun part of decorating. But yet again, we don't want to be in a hoarding situation. Personalized and meaningful. So, people get stuck on hanging on to things because it was my grandma's apron or my mom gave this to me. I never wanted it, but she gave it to me, so I can't get rid of it. Again, I have a whole podcast episode about that and how to get rid of sentimental items. I have a whole, I'll actually link that in the show notes. What do I want to say? On the website, a whole thing about how to get rid of sentimental items. But meaningful decor and personalized decor, that's how I decorate our home and always have been. Because when you're thrifting and yard saling, you find one-of-a-kind pieces. And there are ways, like one of my favorite things is numbers. So adding numbers to your decorating. And so I have done this before with vintage flashcards or like you can find, there's just so many things. What are those? Like the ink from back in the day, the ink letters. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? And numbers, like those kinds of things. I love vintage, decorating and vintage items. And so, the plastic numbers that used to come from old signs or something, so those kinds of things. And you just add our family number was 4. There were 4 of us forever. We have a pupper dog now. Pupper dog. I just said that. We say that out loud, but we have a dog. Oh my goodness. Thank goodness the family doesn't listen to this. But anyway, we have a dog now. And so is our number now 5? You guys will have to tell me too. I'm new to the dog world. We've had her for 2 years, but it's like, so is our number now 5? Like she's part of the family. It's like another human. Everybody's like, get a dog, get a dog, get a dog. And I knew why I didn't want a dog. And as soon as she has been the best dog. I'm telling you this right now. We cannot believe how good this dog is. But it is another person that it's not like a cat. You have another person to take care of. So definitely our number is now 5, but I just, like little numbers for your family number, or maybe it's your last name initial, whatever, but just adding those personalized or meaningful things here and there, a gallery wall, featuring, photos. I don't like a lot of photos around our house and I don't have them, but or artwork, things like that. Mementos from family vacations. That's another good one. We always look for heart rocks when we are at the lake, and sea glass and those kinds of things. So just adding those to your decor. And then when you're thrifting and yard saling, estate saling, every piece in your home, whatever you're bringing home, they all have a story to tell. It could be the story of how you found it, the house you were in, the story that they told you as you were buying it, the person you met that you are now meeting for coffee, once a month. That's one of my favorite things about decorating this way, is because it's just everything. I can literally walk around my house. I'm looking around my office right now, and it's just like every little thing has a story. I know exactly where everything came from, how I got it, if I made it over, all those things. And it's just fun. And when you're decorating with those one-of-a-kind pieces that have a story to tell, there's always a conversation when people come over. Like, where did you get that? What is that thing? And I'm always like, listen, I got it for $1 at a yard sale. And my mom's always like, Lindsay, you don't have to tell them how inexpensive it was. And I'm like, yes, because that's one of the funnest parts for me. I want to tell people this was 50 cents at a yard sale. Can you believe that? I get excited about that. So I'm always, that's how I lead the conversation. Can you believe I got this for? So if you ever come through my house, I will definitely let you know the price and where I got it and how it came to be. So that is it. That is my list of 7 things that are just timeless trends that, it's not going to go out of style. They're going to last over and over and over again. Even when your style, your aesthetic, the season of life you're in changes. These are things that are just never going to go out of style. So I will leave that a link to the sentimental blog post in the show notes, so you can check that out if that's something you struggle with. And as always, email me, lindsay@mycreativedays.com. Reach out to me on Instagram @mycreativedays. If you have a podcast episode or just a question, just email me a question. And I would love to answer it. I always answer all the emails and all of the DMs on Instagram. But when I find one that I know more people, wonder about or have questions about, I may share it here on the podcast, but I will never share your name or, where the message came from, or, you will never be known if you send it in. So it just helps me know what people need content for and what people need help for. So I appreciate those messages and those emails every single time. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you find these episodes helpful, please share the podcast with your friend, your family. We appreciate that here. We do a lot of work on the back end of this podcast, and just knowing that people are enjoying it and finding it helpful makes my day. So until next time, I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you very soon. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I am grateful that you tune in every week and that you share the show with your family and friends. I love having creative chit chats with you, and my hope is that this podcast will inspire you to try a new project, start a DIY that you've been putting off, and decorate your home exactly how you want it. There are a few ways you can help us with the podcast. Follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you could take a few minutes to leave the podcast a review, that would help us so, so much. Again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to our chat next week. Bye-bye.